Ladies and gentlemen, prepare for landing. Fasten your seatbelts. Thank you for flying Air Force Airlines. Over me.
All right, this is going to be the first edition of the Sideline Sessions, formerly known as the Crescent City Connection podcast. Got my guys, JJ on the far left, John Lambert, and we're here. We're gonna be talking about the Pelicans and the upcoming draft and the big trade we just heard yesterday. So let's just jump right into it and talk a little bit about our newest Pelican, JV for short, Jonas Valanciunas.
Yeah, it's much easier to just say JV than try to pronounce that whole name.
Yeah, he's an excellent player. I think he's a big upgrade from Steven Adams, a little bit more athletic and can score the ball a little bit better. What you guys think?
Yeah, I think that was definitely a win for us. I think Griffin definitely redeemed himself from the Holiday trade. He let that play out, and he realized that he got two players that wasn't really a good fit on his team, and he realized it after 1 year, and he flipped them, got us probably the best player in the trade, and Jonas Valanciunas. I think he's going to be an upgrade from Steven Adams. What do you think? You think he'll be an upgrade from Adams?
Yeah, I kind of compared it to the step that we took from Drew Holiday to Eric Bledsoe last year. I don't know if it's that big, but it's not like some small upgrade. It's a pretty big one. And in terms of fit, just he takes like 1-3 a game.
Yeah.
So that's not big, but if you
he shoots it at like 36%.
Yeah, he shoots it pretty good.
Yeah, but if you look at his shot chart, he's all over like the mid range.
Yeah, definitely.
Like a David West or Anthony Davis or somebody like that. And that's
he has much more like offensive diversity,
right.
More like in his arsenal than Adams did.
Right.
Like I feel like times last year we would give it to Adams in the post, and he was like lost right there. It was almost like wasting seconds on the shot clock every time you gave it to him on the post. It's like I feel like you give it to him down there, Jonas, and like he's got an array of different moves.
Yeah, he's going to be a force to be reckoned with.
Like what he averaged 17 points a game last year. And that's what a bunch of other scorers on that team. I mean, Ja can fill it up, Brooks can fill it up,
not only that,
and he still put up numbers.
He had a bunch of 20-20 games too.
Yeah.
20 points, 20 rebounds. I mean,
we don't really lose any. So what's Adams? The best thing he gives you is rebounding. Do you lose anything rebounding wise with Jonas? He's probably just as good of a rebounder, if not better.
Yeah.
I mean, they both played 28 minutes a game last year. And I think Adams grabbed 9 and Jones grabbed 13. So, but then for me, the big thing is you look at a guy under the rim and, he might shoot 60-70%. But the second you get out of that restricted area, that number drops to 30.
Yeah.
If you look at it, Jonas, he's still 80, 90th percentile.
Yeah.
Shooting 50-55%.
Well, he's efficient from way more areas on the court than Adams. Yeah.
Well, not only is he more athletic than Adams, and I think that trade helped us out, but it also cleared up a ton of cap space.
Oh, yeah.
We got rid of two really bad contracts in Bledsoe and Adams, so you want to dig into that a little bit?
I mean, that was two guys that I thought was going to be a lot harder to offload than it wound up being. I mean, we only moved back 7 spots in this draft from 10 to 17, and I mean, how much of a difference is that in talent between 10 and 17 in this draft? Is it
not that much.
That drastic?
I don't think it's that much. You got some of the same guys that you were talking about at 10 that would be there at 17. I think the big ones I know I like Sengun and you like Giddey and those guys won't be there. But
in some mock drafts that I've seen, I did see Giddey and falling. I've seen even Moody fall in a couple of mocks to 16 in
which is crazy to me.
Yeah.
I don't understand that. But I think Duarte, he might still be there. I think Jared Butler is a lot really underrated.
The shout out Jared Butler went to our former high school, Riverside, right up the road, reserve.
Yeah, local guy.
Yeah.
Draft, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. And I mean, how big of a difference, how much better do you think Davion Mitchell is than Jared Butler?
I don't think he's that much better at all.
Jared Butler, first of all, he's 2 years younger, and for career-wise, he shot better from 3, averaged more points per game. He's a better free throw shooter. He actually, as much as they say Davion Mitchell is one of the best on-guard defenders in the draft, he averaged more steals than Davion Mitchell.
That's what I was going to say. You look at Davion Mitchell, and his steal percentage was like 3.3, and Jared Butler's 3.7. So,
yeah.
You know,
And you gotta think playing for your hometown would spark a little bit more.
Oh, yeah. Definitely.
You know. But that'd be cool. So we got 17, and we got the 51st. And
another like Louisiana guy that I wouldn't mind getting at 17, Cam Thomas. Just like a guy that could just come off the bench and fill it up. This dude he broke the record in the SEC for most over 20-point games last year. Like the dude can fill it up. And like, so you're telling me he's not going to be a main guy. So at LSU, the focus was on him every game. Like, all right, Cam Thomas, that's a score. We got to stop him. And he's still, he wasn't as efficient as you would like him to be. But I think if you put him on a team like this where he doesn't have to carry you, so the defense ain't going to have all eyes on Cam Thomas, so he's going to have a lot of open shots. When you're going to be playing with Ingram and Zion, we need shooters. And at 17, that's what we really got to be looking at. We need to add shooters.
I think the question mark on this team, after that trade, and depending on what they do as far as Lonzo and Lowry, is going to be the 2 guard. So, you're thinking you're looking at the draft to find a 2 guard maybe, I guess?
Yeah.
I think they just want shooting.
Yeah.
You know.
I don't think it really, I think I told you this before, I don't think we really need like a pure point guard in this team, because you got Ingram, who's like a point forward. He's going to be handling the ball and like starting the offense sometimes. You got Point Zion, who we realize is like super efficient when you run him at the point.
Right.
So like a pure point guard, we really just need to surround those guys with shooters.
Yeah,
in my opinion.
You know what's funny about Point Zion is that, you read like the message boards and all that, people hated Point Zion because he's not the traditional point guard, right?
Yeah.
But then you look at what they did offensively, because they didn't run him, Point Zion the entire season.
Right.
But when they did, I don't remember the exact numbers off the top of my head, but their offensive rating was like in the 118s, 119s, and the NBA record, I'm talking the entire NBA history, was like 116 by like Dallas like 2 years ago.
Yeah.
So they're historically good, but then you're gonna say that they're not good because Zion's not the traditional point guard, which don't make no sense to me. But
we're at a point where you just putting your best. I feel like you're just putting your best player at point guard. Giannis ran the point a lot.
Cade Cunningham, who's not a point guard, but he's a play point guard.
Yeah, exactly,
right?
exactly.
Yeah, you want your best player with the ball the most. I think that's the ultimate.
That's why. So like, a lot of people are saying, we all seen what Chris Paul did with Phoenix last year. All right, like you put a veteran point guard that could run the offense on a team, and then look what it did. Like, do you think Chris Paul would be just as good of a fit here as he was in Phoenix? Because the only other guy on that team that could really like start the offense was Booker. And like, we got Zion who could start the offense. We got Ingram that could start the offense. You got a guy like Kira. You got Nikhil, he's not, I don't think, a traditional point guard, but he can run the offense. Like, you got a lot of guys that can already start the offense. I don't know if we really need a pure point guard. I think we just need shooters.
Well, since you're on the subject, let's talk a little bit about the free agents out there that we can we mentioned Lowry and CP3 a little bit, which would be cool. I know you were talking about CP3 and Willie Green, New Orleans reunion.
It'd be cool to see Chris Paul back here, but at the same, I almost feel stupid, but was it Game 6 or Game 7 that the finals went to? It was Game 7, right?
No, it was 6.
It was Game 6?
Yeah.
So you're 2 wins away from winning the finals, and if you're Phoenix and you let Chris Paul get away, that's kind of...
Yeah.
But, at the same time, what is he? He's got to be 36, 37.
Yeah, he's getting up there in age.
So, right, do you want to give him 3-4 years? Just...
Yeah,
Well, you actually can't even give him 4 years because they got that 38+ rule.
Yeah.
To where if a player is going to reach 38 at any point in that contract, he can only get a maximum of 3 years. So that's like a guy. So they say Griffin is super interested in a guy like Lowry. Well, the most you're going to be able to give him is 3 years because he'll reach 38 in that contract.
Right.
So you're not going to be able to offer, like, spread the money out 4 years, and they got other teams in the NBA going into free agency that's going to have more money than us. You got the Knicks, you got the Thunder, and you got the Spurs. So, I mean, if we did get in a bidding war, we can't outbid them. But it's a matter of, I mean, Lowry's at the end of his career. How much does he really care about money versus how much does he want to get into a very good situation and win?
Yeah, I mean, look at the situation that he could be getting into compared to what Chris Paul did last year with Phoenix. I mean,
all right, so we're talking about the three teams that have more cap than us. So the Thunder are not ready to compete now. They're in straight rebuild, trying to get more draft picks than any team in the history of the NBA.
They already have a ton of draft picks.
Yeah. So scratch them. They're not gonna try to. They're in rebuild. They're not about to go pay $90 million for a guy that's 35 years old. That's not gonna happen. Okay, the Spurs. Could you see them making a run at Lowry? Okay, the Knicks.
Well, I felt like if the Spurs were to, that you'd almost be forced to have to re-sign Derozan, which I don't think they want to do.
I think they're
pay him a nice little penny.
I heard that Kyle Lowry and Derozan are actually trying to team up somewhere. I don't know how.
Yeah,
that's
but Kyle Lowry's partner is Derozan, but his Kyle Lowry's partner is also Jonas
Valanciunas, who was on that Toronto team.
That plays for the New Orleans Pelicans.
That's a good question. Is that, say you can sign Kyle Lowry to, and I'm terrible at math, but 3 years, $90 million, or you can sign, because the talk is DeRozan's actually not going to get all that much money this offseason. So you can sign.
What is he projected? Like under 20 mil?
Oh yeah, probably because he's kind of backside of his career. He's kind of, but so say Lowry takes a little discount to get back with, like you said, his buddy, and would you take Lowry at $90 million, and would you take both of them at say 120 combined?
Lowry and DeRozan?
Yeah. Or would you take Lowry just?
See, I wouldn't mind that, but I don't know if you'd have enough spacing on the court. Because you got Zion who can't shoot the three. I mean, he could shoot it, but he ain't shooting no lethal clip.
We know DeMar is,
he's a mid-range assassin. He can't shoot the three at all.
Right.
Okay, so you got Lowry who can shoot the three. He's a very good shooter. DeRozan is just a mid-range assassin. Ingram really is most deadly in the mid-range, but he is a good shooter from 3-2. So you got two shooters. Zion can't shoot, and Jonas, I mean, he can probably shoot just maybe as good as Zion, maybe. I'd say Jonas could probably shoot a little better.
Well, that's kind of like the thing that, for me, is tough, because, like, going back to 17, I like Garuba out of, wherever Luka played overseas, but how do you add somebody like that's just a non-threat offensively to Zion? Just, as much as you like him defensively, like, how do you put another guy that's just not a threat offensively next to him?
I feel like at the two guard positions, you just need two knockdown shooters from three. They have to be.
Which I'm not completely opposed to just pairing Lowry with Nickeil Alexander-Walker.
No.
We know he's not afraid to shoot the ball. If we could just give him some time and let him get into a rhythm, he might knock down higher percentage.
Would we have the cap space to make a Lowry Hart work? Is that possible?
So you want me to tell y'all what I think they should do? So, like we were talking about yesterday, you can turn the trade either in a straight cap space or a trade exception, right? So, take Lowry, for example. I think you shouldn't take Lowry directly in the cap space, but you should try to turn it into, say, a sign and trade for Lonzo Ball. So, whatever those numbers equal out to, if you have to send out, even if you have to send out Josh Hart. So, those salaries match, you don't lose anything on cap space, and you still got that $18 million trade exception.
So you're saying that we sign trade Lonzo for their sign and trade Lowry? Is that
and it's kind of like the Drew Holiday trade last year that, it started out with just the Bucks, and then they turned that into, they combined the Adams trade with that, so I think you would have to, say in New York or Chicago or somebody that might be interested in Alonzo, you might have to go to them and say, hey, let's turn this into a sign and trade. Then you might have to go to Toronto and, throw Toronto some seconds or,
we got picks.
Yeah,
we got Lakers picks.
And that's what
Bucks picks.
Yeah, and I always say you're not going to use all those picks. It's just
you got to assume that a lot of it's going to be
Griffin.
Right, so
he's not trying to get fired and not use none of the picks. He might you know what I'm saying? He's on the hot seat and he's just sitting on all these picks, and he might not even get to use them.
Speaking of picks, do you see them maybe trading some of these picks we have for the draft before Thursday, or do you think we're kind of set in at 17 and 51?
Honestly, then they're going to trade out of 7. Like they weren't gonna play.
Yeah, right.
Short of like injuries or something, but
right. I mean, I feel like we kind of already have our guys that we drafted, our young guys that we're trying to work with, and Kyra Lewis and Nikhil and Jackson Hayes, which I think they all have some good upside. But
all right, here's a theory. Sorry about that. Do you think we haven't learned our lesson from the last time? So now we finally got all this cap space, and we're just gonna, who's the best free agents now? Let's just throw all our money here now. Griffin said that he actually wouldn't mind starting a guard combo of Kira and Nikhil Alexander-Walker. Now, why not run them this year, see how successful it is? If it don't work, you still have all that cap. Jonas is he only has the rest of this year on the contract, so we'd get another 14, 15 mil off the cap if you just let him walk next year after this experiment, see if it works. If not, you got enough money in cap space to sign a guy like Zach LaVine, to sign a guy like Bradley Beal, really make a big three. And they're younger. I mean, think Lowry, Griffin's always talk about sustainable success. Well, now he's about to go throw a 3-year, 90 mil at a guy that's 35 years old.
Yeah, but I don't think it hurts in this position.
I think it opens our window for 2 years.
Yeah, but with Zion, I think we're in that window. Like, we have to be at all times, especially after the reports come out that Zion's family's not happy. Like, we need to be winning now for him to resign. And that's what Griffin's doing.
True.
My thing was always, take last season, they were at 25% capacity the entire year, so you didn't have to worry about ticket sales.
Yeah.
Because of reasons, most of the fan base, in terms of the Pelicans and the NBA, were all for basketball anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So if you were gonna not tank, but if you were gonna get your young guys minutes, last year would have been the year to do it.
Well, and I think that's why they fired Van Gundy, because this dude, Griffin has a vision, and like we've seen in this Willie Green hire, he wants a hand in determining the minutes, the rotation.
See, that's not going to fly with a veteran coach like that.
No, Van Gundy
that's why
That's why it's going. And I think that's why we went and get a young coach who has no experience, because he's more likely to listen to the front office.
But you can't say he doesn't have experience. I mean, he's with the finals.
This is his first head coach job.
Well, yeah. As far
he's
as the head
never
coaching position,
had all this responsibility.
Yeah. Right.
If you listen to the introductory press conference, was like yesterday? What was it? It was today.
Yeah.
They talked about, David Griffin talked about when he was with Cleveland, and then he was with Phoenix, which I didn't even know he was with Phoenix. But when he was with Phoenix, they brought in a young coach, and then they brought in Steve Nash.
Mm-hmm.
And then when he was in Cleveland, they already had LeBron, but they brought in another young coach, Ty Lue, who had another veteran player to lead the show, like LeBron.
Mm-hmm.
And he talked a lot about that, which makes me think they're going after Lowry, or like we said, I don't think CP3 is a realistic option, but if he was available, I think they would go after him. So you're definitely going to see they're going to try to get like an older point guard.
Yeah.
So what happens? Go ahead.
I mean, we did just hear from Bleacher Report probably an hour ago that Griffin was all in on Lowry. So I think.
So what do you do if Lowry falls through, CP3 falls?
Well, you still got Lonzo you can match.
Well, do y'all listen to Zach Lowe? The Lowe Post?
Yeah.
I was actually on the way here. I was listening to his podcast that he filmed this morning with the two draft experts from ESPN. And they kind of quickly, but they talked about that there's a lot of rumors going around that the last 4 or 5 days they had heard that, hey, New Orleans and Memphis are going to do something together, and it's going to be for the picks, and it might be some contracts, blah 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 blah. But he said the other thing they've been hearing was a sign and trade with Lonzo to Indy, because apparently Indy really likes Lonzo for Brogdon, which he would fit the veteran.
But what are they paying now?
It's not that much. It's probably about what Lonzo.
20 million range, I think it is.
18.
That'd be nice. Space the floor, be able to hit the three. That was
He's a very good 3-point shooter. He's a very good defender too.
Yeah.
And then I like synergy stats, and I was looking at Lonzo, Lowry, and Brogdon, And, Lonzo spot up, he's the 70th percentile, and then like everything else, He was actually good at pick and roll, which surprised me, but he had like 200 possessions in pick and roll the entire season. When you look at like Brogdon had like 450 or something like that.
Yeah,
but
bro, we really didn't run much pick and roll last year.
It's a lot of isolation, which is kind of a problem. But
why not freaking pick and roll Ingram and Zion?
Yeah, that's what everybody said. But that goes back to the whole just not tanking last season. But dude, get your youngest players minutes, and if they suck, they suck. Who cares?
These are our two best players.
Even the young guys that were getting, like Nikhil was inconsistent. He was inconsistent, but
he's been
inconsistent. Really,
he's had those nights where he went off.
Yeah,
because I think he had one game last year where he was like 30. I think
he's
like 30
against
something.
the Clippers. Yeah.
The few games that we did start him, he looked good.
We had a bunch of injuries. Lonzo was out. He's not afraid to shoot the ball. We know that much.
And Kira looks good too. I think he had the best assist to turnover ratio out of all the rookies.
Just such a small
and not just the
sample.
rookies. I think he was top 5 in all the league assist to turnover ratio. I think it was 4-1 assist to turnover. 4-1. That's damn good.
You want to know a funny stat I came across? So Lonzo, I was looking at drives per game, and Lonzo was like 5 in 33, 34 minutes. Kyra at 16, 17 minutes was like 4.5. So it's like, ooh, but that that goes back to
the New Orleans Pelicans select Zion Williamson.
This game do what we do. We play like we play. We be us. We be special. We smell greatness. We finish strong. From the top.